Thursday, but no names were mentioned. The brutality of the crime was not mentioned. All that was mentioned was that there was a man, Laramie man, found beaten out on the prairie, basically. Later on in the evening, they started using his name. It was like, this isn't the Matthew Shepard I know. This can't be my student. This can't be this person I've been meeting with.
I was in the coffee shop, and someone pulled me aside, and he said, I don't know much, but they say there's a young man who's been beaten in Laramie, and they say his name's Matthew Shepard. And he said to me, do you think this could be our Matthew? And I said, well, yeah, it sounds like it could be our Matthew. So I called up my sister Trish, and I just said, tell me what you know. I was just like, I need to know anything you know, because I don't know anything.
I was on the phone with my sister when the whole thing popped up on the Channel 5 news, and it was just like, boom.
The news reports kept rolling in. A young University of Wyoming student, his age, his description, and it's just like, oh my God.
And I was just sick to my stomach, you know? Just instantly sick to my stomach. And I had to tell Romaine, yes, it was Matthew. It was your friend.
I'll tell you what is overwhelming. Friday morning, I first found out about it. I go to class and walk out. And boom, there it is in a brand new iron. So immediately, I drive to the nearest newsstand to buy a Laramie boomerang because I want more details. You know, I buy that. I go home, and before I can even open up the paper, my boss calls me and he says,
"Did you hear about what happened?
I'm like, yeah.
Was he in the bar Tuesday night?"
I go, yeah, yes he was.
You've got to get down here. We've got to discuss this. We've got to figure out what's going to go on.
By this point, I was starting to get upset, but still, the severity wasn't out yet.
It was a Thursday afternoon.
Real on Stacy at Prudhoe Valley Hospital.
I got a call up. We got a kid from Wyoming. It looks like he may be the victim of a hate crime. We got a couple reporters out back asking questions. And so we decided that we needed one spokesperson. And as CEO, I'll do that. We'll try to gather all the information that we can.
And then I watched the 10 o'clock news that night when they started talking about the nature and the seriousness of it.
So I'm on the phone with Mickelson, and he's like,
We need to go to the arraignment so we can identify these guys and make sure these guys are up to bar.
so you go to the arraignment.
Our focus turns to Laramie, Wyoming, and the Albany County Courthouse, where Aaron James McKinney and Russell Arthur Henderson are being charged with a brutal beating of Matt Shepard, gay college student at the University of Wyoming. The arraignment was on Friday, right around lunchtime, and I said, I'm just going. So I walked a few blocks, and I went. Has anyone told you about the arraignment? Well, there were probably about 100 people there, and just as many news and media. At this point, a lot more details had come out. The fact that the perpetrators were kids themselves, kids that anyone who's from around here had some kind of relationship to. And what really, I think everyone was just waiting on pins and needles for was what would happen when the perpetrators walked in. And what happened, there were probably about 200 people in the room at this point. They walked in their complete orange jumpsuits and their shackles, and you could have heard a pin drop. It was incredibly solemn. I mean, lots of people were getting teary-eyed at that point. And then the judge walked in, and he had a reading of all the evidence that the prosecution had. And this reading was of just the facts. And the reading of the facts was,
the essential facts are that the defendants, Aaron James McKinney and Russell Arthur Henderson, met Matthew Shepard at the Fireside Bar. And after Mr. Shepard confided he was gay, the subjects deceived Mr. Shepard into leaving with them in their vehicle to a remote area. Upon arrival at said area, the subjects tied their victim to a buck fence, robbed him, tortured him, and beat him. Both defendants were later contacted by officers of the Laramie Police Department, who observed inside the cab of their pickup a credit card and a pair of black patent leather shoes belonging to the victim, Matthew Shepard.
I mean, at that point,
I don't think there was anyone in that courtroom who wasn't crying. I mean, it lasted maybe 5 minutes, but it just kept getting more and more horrific, ending with...
Said defendants left the victim begging for his life.
Sergeant King.
How can this happen? I don't think people understand it. Even I don't really understand how someone can do something like that. We have one of the most vocal populations of gay people in the state. It's pretty much just live and let live.
Laramie resident Jeffrey Lockwood.
My secret hope was that they're from someplace else.
So you can create this distance. We don't grow children like that here. But it's pretty clear. We do grow children like that here.
So that would be Raymond. My response? Pretty much catatonic. Not eating, not sleeping. Don't leave me alone right now.
Well, the news reports kept rolling in about the sheer brutality, motivations, how this happened, and then, quite frankly, the media descended, and there was no time to reflect on it anymore.
Laramie, Wyoming, often called the Gem City of the Plains, is now at the eye of the storm. Aaron McKinney, anticipated Russell Anderson both came from Fort Town. As a gay college student lay hospitalized in critical condition, this small city people would like to have Wyoming wrestles in the street art to have their own on a daily basis. It's a tough business, as Matt Shepard knew, and as his friends all know, to be gay in cowboy country.
Yeah, it was huge. It was herds, and we're talking hundreds of reporters, which really makes a dent in this town's population. I mean, there's news reporters everywhere, news trucks everywhere on campus, everywhere in town, and we're not used to that type of attention to begin with. We're not used to that type of exposure.
Tiffany Edwards, local reporter.
These people are predators. I mean, one of the reporters actually caught one of the judges in the bathroom at the urinal and was like asking him questions. And the judge was like, "Excuse me, can I please have some privacy?" And the reporter was like offended that he asked for privacy. I mean, this is not how journalism started, like the Gutenberg Press, you know?
Well, I'll tell you what. When hard copy came to take me, I taped them at the same exact time. I have every word I ever said on tape. So if they ever try to be funny, they better watch their fucking ass.
Governor Jim Geringer, a first-time Republican up for re-election.
I am shocked and disgusted by the heinous crimes committed against Matthew Shepard. I would like to extend my most heartfelt sympathies to the family.
Governor, you haven't pushed hate crime legislation in the past.
I would like to urge the people of Wyoming against overreacting in a way that would give one group special rights over others. We will wait and see if the vicious beating of Matthew Shepard was motivated by...
You've got the beginning of the news story right, where they got their graphics in their background, and they got murder in Wyoming, and Wyoming's dripping red like it's got blood in it or something. And it's like, what is this? This is sensationalism. And here we're going. Wait a minute. We got the boys in jail in less than a day. I think that's pretty damn good.
And for us to be more or less maligned,
Eileen Engine.
and that we are not a community of good people, and we are, and the majority of us are good people, and you know, you get bad apples once in a while, but I think the gay community took this as an advantage. They said, this is a good time for us to exploit this.
Bill McKinney, father of one of the accused.
Had it been a heterosexual, these two boys decided to take on a Rob, this never would have made the national news. Now my son is guilty before he even had a trial.
I do think that the media actually made people accountable. Because it made people think. Because these people are sitting in their homes, watching TV, you know, listening to CNN, watching Dan Rather, and they're going, Jesus Christ, well, that's not how it is here. Well, how is it here?
Matthew Shepard medical update at 3 p.m. Saturday, October 10th.
By this point, I looked out there, and where there had been 2 or 3 reporters, there must have been 10 or 15 still photographers, another 20 or 30 reporters, and 15 video cameras. The parents had just arrived, and I barely introduced myself to them. I looked out there, and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Matthew Shepard was admitted in critical condition at approximately 9:15 p.m. on Monday, October 7th. When he first arrived, he was unresponsive and breathing support was being provided. Matthew's major injuries upon arrival consisted of hypothermia and a fracture from behind his head to just in front of his right ear. This has caused bleeding in the brain as well as pressure on the brain. There were also several lacerations on his head, face, and neck. Matthew's temperature has fluctuated over the last 24 hours, ranging from 98 to 106 degrees. We have had difficulty in controlling his temperatures. Matthew's parents arrived at 7 p.m. on October 9th and are now at his bedside. The following is a statement from them. First of all, we'd like to thank the American public for their kind thoughts about Matthew and for their fond wishes for a speedy recovery. We appreciate your prayers and goodwill and know that they are something that Matthew would appreciate too. His family also has a special request for the media. Matthew is very much in need of his family